The coalition has dropped the music video to accompany its new rap diss track, slamming Labor and the Prime Minister over the cost of living.
Bring them prices down. This is what we need, cause Albo's gotta leave. Albo's gotta leave. Hey.
Oh, gee, it's an election campaign, isn't it? When asked about the campaign tactic, the Prime Minister said it was beyond his comprehension. For their take, let's bring in Daily Telegraph journalist James Willis and the founding director of Western Sydney Women, Amanda Rose. Good morning. James, your reaction this morning?
Oh, it's so lame. It is one of the lamest things I've seen in a long period of time. Look, thankfully we've got it today because the election campaign's been a bit dry over the last few days, so it's given us something to talk about. But it's one of those examples of when mum and dad or grandma or grandpa discover something cool and try and tell their kids about it and the kids just go, what?
Yeah.
Look, you know what? It's a really interesting strategy because the Liberal Party has a real problem with young voters. Peter Dutton has a real problem with young voters, and they've obviously, someone in HQ has said, let's put this rap track out, make it sound like one of the famous rappers and see how it goes. But I'm not into it, and I think it's really, really cheesy.
So, Amanda, as we've heard, for the first time, young voters will outnumber older voters. Yeah. Will this help?
Look, beat's not bad, right? Don't want a good beat.
Really?
But I would probably not put it on my playlist in my car because someone might run into me deliberately. So the thing is, I find that the young voters have been neglected for actually quite some time. You know, I noticed this about a decade ago and I was thinking no one's really engaging with them except the Greens. The Greens do it so well. And the problem is that if you tell them what they want to hear, they'll vote for you. They're not going to ask, can I have the policy details on that and how you're going to do it? They just go, yes, that's what I want. I want houses, yes. I want to tax billionaires, yes. So they vote based on emotions. So this is not how you get to the youth, right? You actually need to bring youth in and actually get them to give advice and get them to lead the campaign for young people.
That's so true. And one of the things that some of the minor parties do so well is engage directly with social media and make sure that clear-cut, very simple messages are cut through. And that's what the Liberal Party should be doing, not getting into the studio with Dutz with his backwards hat and his baggy jeans and pumping out tracks like this.
Yeah, because we don't want that. We want him as a leader, but we want the team to engage with you.
Yeah.
OK, moving on, Anthony Albanese has indicated he would have a tilt at a third term as Prime Minister. Speaking on a podcast with The Nightly, Mr Albanese was asked if he would have a run in 2028 and said that if he was successful on May 3, then yeah. James, he did criticise Peter Dutton when he was asked did he want to live in Sydney or Canberra, and Albo said, oh, he's measuring up the curtains, he's getting ahead of himself. Is this getting ahead of himself?
Well, of course it is, but that's the thing with Albo. I mean, you could argue he's part of the furniture in Canberra. He's been there for so long. He's one of the old school politicians from the older systems. And I really think he just cruises through day to day. He'd be happy to be Prime Minister for as long as we'll have him. And the real thing, the real issue for him is if the polls go in the way that we expect them to and there's a minority government and his preferential treatment as preferred Prime Minister continues in the way that it does, if those polls continue, then it won't be about Albo deciding. There'll be someone tapping him on the shoulder, whether it be Jim Chalmers or someone else. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think he'd just be happy to keep cruising. He loves the parliamentary life as well, right? He's loving the Comcars. He loves the Toto jet. And so he could keep going for as long as possible. I also don't know what he'd do if he stopped one day. I think he'd struggle to get out.
He would have to get an actual job. Well, maybe he should go into the small business sector.
Interesting, talking about minority government, there's a poll out this morning saying because of the Trump situation and what's happened in the last couple of weeks and Dutton identifying with Trump, that's pushing people into Labor, and there could be a majority Labor government.
Well, this is what's interesting. I don't think Dutton's much like Trump at all. Trump is, you know, America's very different to Australia. And I say this with a lot of things when Trump was implementing stuff. Like, we're not going to do that. We're very different here in Australia. So Labor's very smart that any opportunity they can get, they will try and make sure that Dutton and Trump look similar so people can hate on Dutton. And again, this is election campaigns, emotions, when really what we want is people to go, well, hang on a minute, what did he say? What are we doing in this country? What is Dutton and Albanese, what are they actually genuinely doing? Not looking at America and getting too worried, because we are our own country and we need to make sure that we are focused on ourselves and not obsessing over America, because they really don't have that much control over the decisions we make.
OK, let's look at something that's truly Australian. There are reports that Terry Irwin wasn't the happiest of mums when her son Robert's Bonds photo shoot went viral. A source has told New Idea that Terry was a little surprised and even voiced her concerns about the snaps. Firstly, James, do you trust the source that allegedly told New Idea that Terry wasn't happy?
Look, I feel a little bit sorry for Terry if she wasn't aware of this and saw these photos and suddenly Bobby wasn't in the car keyed and swapped them in for the Bonds. What I would say in Robert Irwin's defence is that if you did look like this under the car key, well, you'd be finding your opportunity to show it off. And I reckon he looks amazing.
So, and it's being hailed as a really great commercial, especially overseas. What are your thoughts, Amanda?
All I can think about, he was in high school 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? And now this. And so if you're over the age of 21, you shouldn't be looking at it.
Well, some people, women's groups are saying it's sexist, because if we were doing this...
Absolutely.
If it was a woman in her bikini and we were ogling at her, that is wrong.
100% I agree. So the ladies, when you're on Facebook, calm your farm and stop commenting on this, because you're being a hypocrite.
Yeah, but he's not there in chains. He's there at his own free will and he loves the way that he looks.
He's making money, that's fine, but still, he's 12.
He's not 12.
Let Bob show it off. He's over age.
OK.